So we are gathering today to share a little bit about our trip to Guatemala. So 2 weeks ago for spring break, we went to Antigua, Guatemala. We had a couple purposes of the trip. One was really to serve the needy population in Guatemala, and the second was for our students just to have an opportunity, and faculty, to develop more cultural competency. And so we spent 3 days at the hospital and then 2 days working for an organization called Houses to Homes Guatemala.
I think one of the biggest things that I can take away from the trip was just that confidence to initiate communication with a patient that doesn't speak English and is Spanish for a primary language, and seeing that you can do things even if you don't have a chart and you have to do the evaluation on the fly and just see what works and what doesn't.
It was just really interesting to see what would happen if someone did not have physical therapy, and it makes you really realize that physical therapy is very important and a necessary part of healthcare. Some of the older adults we had worked with had very severe contractures to the point where they wouldn't be able to stand up because they're stuck in 45 degrees of sitting, and so that was kind of interesting to see. Like, I mean, you read it in the textbooks, but it's like, okay, this is really what it looks like.
The Guatemalan experience let them just be really free to choose any type of patient and develop any type of treatment protocol that they felt comfortable with. And I think it built a tremendous amount of self-confidence that will really prepare them for their final clinical rotations.
Well, I feel like this experience is going to make me a better physical therapist here in the U.S. Because of a couple of points that have already been brought up before, but just being able to go into a clinic and that may not have the most resources, but being able to work with the tools that you have for fairly complex patients that, you know, as I was seeing them, I'd be like, oh, you know, this would be a great tool for them, but, you know, you don't have it there. So therefore you work with what you have.
Definitely eye-opening is taking the children out into the community and trying to navigate a wheelchair with no ramps and on cobblestone, and having to just figure it out and think on your feet and, you know, use all of the problem-solving skills that we have learned in the curriculum and really actually apply it.
Something else that we really appreciate, or I especially appreciate, is that the opportunity to provide a service to a community that we might not have got to visit on our own, especially at the time and financial demands of graduate school. Having the opportunity to take a week and provide a service and have an experience in a different culture in a different community and provide them with hopefully an enjoyable and positive experience that we were able to bring to them was really enjoyable.
The most important purpose in this trip was to educate the therapists that were there, and so really the only way you can do that is for them to see you work through your hands and what you have to offer, and I think we did a good job of that. I think very slowly each day they wanted more and they saw more of what the potential was, and I think that's a good way to go about it without coming in and saying, you know, we want to change this or do this. It's really about what do you need and how can we better serve you.
In closing, do you guys have a message to the donors who helped make the trip possible?
Thank you.